Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another daily devotion. I'm Pastor Roy at Woodlawn Christian Church in Lake City, Iowa, and obviously this devotion I'm recording over in the library in the parsonage. It just doesn't look like my office at church. And this devotion is for Friday, October 7th of 2022. We are in the third chapter of the book of Hebrews, and today we're just going to look at the first 6 verses. We're going to take a quick bite here. It is Friday, and that's my day off, actually, and I've got a long list of things to do, actually. I'm going to be heading out a little bit. I'm going to take some time to go and distribute flyers down in Carroll for our Christmas concert, and Henry's here. Henry came into the library to join me, so he's going to help me do this devotion. So welcome, Henry. Henry's our little guy. We love him to death. Found him as a feral kitten. He was abandoned on the back patio. He didn't even have his eyes open yet. His mom abandoned him because he was so full of fleas, but I digress. He's just a sweetheart. And he has his own little playlist here for devotions for sermons for the kids. So there's 3 sermons that are doing pretty well, doing better than my devotions. But let's look at chapter 3, verses 1 to 6 in Hebrews today. And this is from the RSV. I've just switched over to the RSV. I don't know why, I just did. And it's called Moses a Servant, Christ a Son is the heading that the RSV gives it. Therefore, holy brethren, who share in a heavenly call, consider Jesus, the apostle and high priest of our confession. He was faithful to him who appointed him, just as Moses also was faithful in God's house. Yet Jesus has been counted worthy of as much more glory than Moses, as the builder of a house has more glory than the house. For every house is built by someone, but the builder of all things is God. Now Moses was faithful in all God's house as a servant, to testify to the things that were to be spoken later, but Christ was faithful over God's house as a son. And we are his house, if we hold fast our confidence and pride in our hope. All right. Well, the author starts right out, and start out, holy brethren. They're set aside, brothers and sisters. We are set aside. We are differentiated from the world. We are followers of Christ who share in a heavenly call, a call from God. Consider, focus is what this is often translated as. Focus on Jesus. And I think perhaps that's a better, maybe at least for us today, maybe a better calling than to say a heavenly call. Consider Jesus. Consider is just like, well, let's think about it. But focus is a different thing. Let's focus on Christ. Our lives, our very being should be focused on Jesus. He is the apostle, it says here, which is a strange thing to call Jesus. And in fact, I believe, in what I've seen, this is the only time that the word here, that is translated as apostle, is used to describe Jesus. But it's not and usually we talk about the 12 disciples, the apostles, Apostle Paul, apostle, but it means the sent one who's sent. And Jesus truly is sent. He was sent into this world so that if we believed in him, we too would have eternal life. And that is why he is the apostle. He is the sent one, the one and only. He's also a high priest. He is he is the ultimate priest, above all. And remember, it's my belief that this is written after the destruction of the temple, and there's no longer the sacrificial setup that they had with the temple after 70 A.D. when the Romans destroyed the temple. The high priest, pretty much the priestly caste disappear after that. They're gone, and everybody goes out into the synagogues and into the diaspora, and that's really, I believe, why Paul's influence was so strong in the early church. Was those churches that he had founded, those were the ones that people just left and went to, because whether you were a Jewish Christian or just a Jewish Jew, which that's kind of a strange thing to say, but if you were a Jewish follower of Christ, you were kicked out of Jerusalem just like everybody else, all the other Jews. The Romans didn't care what sect you belonged to. And where were you going to go? You were going to go out into those churches, home churches that Paul had started out in the diaspora. So that's, I think, why Paul's influence was so strong and still is so strong. Jesus was faithful to the one who appointed him. He had an appointed task. He was sent into this world to accomplish one thing only. That's your salvation, my salvation, everyone's salvation who believes in him and calls on him as their Christ, the Christ, we should say. Just as Moses also was faithful in God's house. But Moses was a servant. He took care of the children, the body of God's body. And of course, excuse me, these folks are Jewish folks, so they hold Moses in absolute regard. But Jesus above that now. And that's the reminder also. But remember, we don't need those priests. We don't need that temple. We have the true temple. We have the true priest. We have the true apostle. We have Jesus. And that's what I think is coming across in these 6 verses, to me anyway. And then at the end, he talks about that Moses was the servant and Jesus is the son. And the son is over the servant. The servant is subjected to the son. And I'm reminded myself of the prodigal son. There, when the son comes home, he's going to subject himself to his father and say, let me be a slave in your home. Let me be a servant in your home. I don't deserve to be your son. But the father brings him back, and he is restored to the family as the son. He's given him the signet ring and the robe and the sandals, and he's no longer gone. He is welcomed back into the fold. I think there's some parallel to that, some meaning we can get from that. Not necessarily a parallel, but we can see the importance of the son in the family. He represents the father. And of course, the prodigal son is all about us coming back to God, us being the prodigal son, and God being the father figure. So, but I see some contrast, something I can glean from that story in this verse here. And finally, it ends with, if we hold fast our confidence and pride in our hope. And that hope, of course, is the gospel. That hope is our salvation through Christ. That is the hope. That is the hope we cling to. That is the hope that we profess to the world, that we are called by the Great Commission to take that hope to all the world. And we need to be doing that. So with that, I'm going to tell you, be a blessing to someone today. Give them that hope. Give them Christ's hope. Give them Christ's blessing. All right. Have a very blessed day. And yes, indeed, be a blessing to someone today. We'll see you all Monday. And if you're in Lake City area, come to church. See us on Sunday. We have a 10 o'clock worship time, and we'd love to see you in worship. All right. Have a blessed day. Take care. Bye-bye.